Let's take a minute and cultivate our motivation. And think that we will listen and share the Dharma together this evening so that we can improve ourselves, deepen our understanding, root out our mental afflictions, and increase our good qualities. And to do all of this not only for our own benefit, but in order to attain full awakening for the benefit of each and every living being. So let's make that our motivation for being together this evening. And then slowly open your eyes and come out of your meditation. Okay. So the title of the talk is it's living up to your own expectations. So when I saw that title, I didn't make up the title. I said, I can't give a talk on that. Yeah, and they looked at me like, why not? I said, because it's impossible to live up to your own expectations. It's totally impossible. So how can I give a Dharma talk on something that's impossible? Yeah? What do you think? Do you think it's possible to live up to your own expectations? You do? Good luck. Good luck. You're going to become a neurotic mess. Yeah, when I was younger, I thought I could live up to my own expectations. No way. No way. Because we, first of all, we're conditioned by society and by our families and our schools and everything. And they tell us we should be a certain way, we should do a certain thing, we should have accomplished this by age 20, and this by age 22, and this by age 25, and your life is all planned out for you, nice and neat, right? Yeah, I mean, they begin streaming you when you're like this big, and you know what you're supposed to do, and your tests, and what you're supposed to know and accomplish. And you're supposed to somehow squeeze yourself into that hole that, you know, society's putting you in. So you have the expectations of society and your family. And then we also have, you know, some of those expectations we buy into, we take on for ourselves. And then we also dream up our own expectations. Yeah. I should be the most athletic person in the world. You know, and rival, what's his name? Phelps. What's his first name? Michael Phelps. I should rival him in the Olympics. I should be the most exquisite harp player or piano player there ever was. Yeah, I should make $1 million by age 27 and 3 months. Yeah. I should have my 2.3 children. I don't know how you have a 0.3 children, but you know, that's whatever it is that's normal that you're supposed to do. So you have your 2.3 children, and your children, you know, they have to be geniuses by primary one. Yeah. Assured of a place at Harvard University by the time they get to primary 2. Yeah, because all this reflects on you as a parent, you know, so you take your kid and you squish your kid and try and get them to be the, you know, fit into that square hole. Yeah, and then we have all these expectations, and we're afraid, like, oh my goodness, if I don't fulfill them, then I'm a failure. Ah. You know, I'm a failure. I don't have the best job. I don't make the most money. I'm not famous. I'm not rich. I don't have a huge house. Yeah. I don't have a car. In fact, I don't even know how to drive. Oh, woe is me. What are people going to think of me? What am I going to think of myself? My life's a disaster. Yeah? That's kind of the way you're brought up to be. Do you think? Some of you are like, you're not too sure, you know. I'm shaking the boat a little bit here. Okay. But, you know, we have all these expectations, and it's totally impossible to live up to them. Completely impossible. I know when I, you know, became a nun, I thought, okay, I'm going to learn Tibetan. Yeah, I'm going to become fluent in Tibetan. I'm going to be a translator. I'm going to go to the monasteries in South India and do the whole 30-year, you know, or 25-year debating program and come out an excellent debater and know all the sutras and all the shastras and be able to teach. And not only that, but then I'm going to go do retreat, yeah, all by myself, find some cave somewhere, you know, decorate it. And yeah, you know, I mean, kind of, no, I'm going to be an ascetic. I'm not going to decorate my cave. I'm going to be such an ascetic, you know, completely like, you know, immovable concentration from the first day of retreat, you know, totally, you know, this perfect concentration. I'm going to realize emptiness. I'm going to progress through the 10 bodhisattva bhumis in the snap of a fingers and attain enlightenment in this very lifetime, just like Milarepa did, even though I haven't created all the causes and conditions he did in previous lives. That doesn't matter. I'm going to create them all in this life. And I'm never going back to America. It's such a corrupt country. I'm going to stay in Nepal and India and get enlightened. Yay! Well, that's the expectation I had for myself. And here I am, 37 years later. Yeah, I'm not enlightened. I haven't realized emptiness. I haven't even realized renunciation. Yeah. Haven't lived in a cave. Don't have single-pointed concentration. Didn't learn all the sutras and shastras in the Geshe program. And still don't speak Tibetan. I'm a disaster. You know? But, you know, I'm okay. I'm happy. Yeah. I did what I was able to do, what I was capable of doing. Yeah. I did my best, and this life has been worthwhile. What more can I want? Yeah. So it took me a long time to really accept myself and accept accept my karma, accept my capabilities, accept my weaknesses, you know, and to also learn that you can accept what you are right now and at the same time know that you can change and improve in the future. So accepting what you are right now doesn't mean you just sign off on yourself and get complacent and say, I don't need to do anything. Doesn't mean that. But it means that we just say, you know, I am what I am, and that's okay. Yeah, I did what I was capable of doing, and I'm satisfied with that. And I'll keep trying in the future, step by step, little by little, to improve myself. I don't have to be all this glorioso things that I dreamt up that I was going to be. And I remember, because I would go back to, when I was a new nun, I lived in Dharamsala, India, for some time. That's kind of the center of the Tibetans who are refugees. And I studied there. Many of my teachers lived there. And then after I came to Singapore and after I went back to the West, I would go back to India like almost every year. And I remember walking around, the temples there. And just each year would be a time when I kind of would check up. Well, what have I done in the last year? And how's my practice going? And have I done what I wanted to do? And at first, when I was going, it was like, my friend Ruth knows Tibetan fluently, and she translates for our teacher, and she's excellent. So-and-so learned Tibetan, and they're studying up at the dialectic school and doing all the debate. Another friend went off, and they're meditating. Yeah, long time, years doing a meditation retreat. Another friend is traveling with our teacher. I always wanted to do that, and I never could. And look at me. I'm living in Singapore, giving Dharma talks, saying the same thing every Dharma talk. But people don't realize I'm doing that, so they keep coming until they stop coming. Yeah. And then I'm living in America, and people have no idea what in the world a Buddhist nun is. Yeah. And they come up to me in the airport and say, "It's okay, dear. When the chemo's done, your hair will grow back." Or I'm in the ladies' bathroom and somebody walks in and goes, "Ah!" because they think I'm a man. Yeah, I can't tell you the number of times they've called me sir on airplane flights. Yeah. And people also compliment me on my outfit. Yeah, this is my outfit. Yeah, that color looks really good on you. Not everybody can wear their hair like that, but it looks good with you. Thank you. Yeah? So, this is how my life turned out. And so first it was like, I didn't do anything that I wanted to do or planned to do. And, and then I, just really worked on, because we have this practice of rejoicing. When we do the 7-limb prayer and the prayer of Samantabhadra, one of the verses is about rejoicing at our own and others' merit. So my teacher taught this practice, so I figured I should try and do it. And, rejoice in my own merit. Well, I don't have very much, and I haven't done anything. And I'm not like this friend who's doing this and that friend doing that. But okay, I kind of kept my vows. So I that's okay. I can pat myself on the back for that. I didn't keep them perfectly, but I'm still here. So that's good. I did that. And, I did some study as much as I could. And when I was studying, I really reviewed my notes. I didn't just take the notes. Well, first of all, I took notes. That was good. And then I would study my notes afterwards. I didn't just put them on the top shelf and forget about them. I would review them. And then I would meditate on my notes. And that helped me. That helped me. I used to be a real mess, and now I'm only half of a mess. That's progress. Yeah. I mean, if you had known me when I was younger, I was a mess. Yeah. When I was in college, I was so lonely. I was so depressed. I would cry and cry. They didn't give people antidepressants in those days. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have given me something. But it was just as good that they didn't, because I had to work with my own mind and figure out my own problems and learn to stop crying. Yeah. So I just really had to work at, rejoicing at my own merit, rejoicing at the little that I had done, stop comparing myself to other people, and instead really rejoice at what my friends had done. How wonderful that these friends learned Tibetan language. I'm really glad. Yeah, it was so difficult for me. Even the Tibetan alphabet, ka, ka, ga, they all sound the same. Pa, pa, pa. That's all the same. Why can't they speak English? English is the only language I do moderately well in, and still not perfect. Yeah. So, really working at just rejoicing at what I was able to do, rejoicing at how I had changed, really seeing that practicing. I had a daily practice. Usually I'm either half asleep during my daily practice or I'm doing it very quickly and not paying attention. But still, it's having an effect. I'm still very glad I do my daily practice. And that, I am different than I was. I have changed, and I'm happier now. I'm not as depressed. I don't get angry nearly as much as I used to. So there's some progress. That's good. They said it's going to take 3 countless great eons, and that's from the time you enter the path by generating renunciation and bodhicitta. I haven't even entered the path yet. So it's going to take a while, whatever I have from now until entering the path, plus 3 countless great eons. Yeah, that sounds like a while. At least it's not 4 countless great eons. It's only 3. Maybe we can speed it up a little bit. 2.5 countless great eons. But it's countless. Yeah? What's the difference between 2.5 countless great eons and 3 countless great eons? What's half of a countless great eon? How long is that? It's countless. Anyway, yeah. So just really working on some self-acceptance and rejoicing at what I was doing, rejoicing at what my friends were doing, and really from my heart rejoicing. And I came to really be very happy that there were other people who were better than I am, and that there were other people who had accomplished what I had aspired to accomplish, but wasn't able to, or at least haven't been able to yet. And to really appreciate that there were those people who were able to do that. Yeah? Because if I were the best one in this world, we would be in a pretty dismal condition. Yeah. All I know about electricity is how to change a light bulb and how to turn the switch on and off. If I were the best this world had to offer, then find yourself a cave without any electricity, because, that's what we're going to have. So I'm glad there's all these people who know how electricity works. I'm glad there's all these people who can translate the scriptures. I'm glad there's people who are more spiritually advanced than I am, because now I can learn from them. Yeah? I'm happy to live in a world where there's people who are better than I am, because now I can learn. Really, if I was the best, we would seriously be in a big mess. I don't know how cars work. Yeah. I mean, I can turn one on and kind of drive if I have to. But I can't fix one. I couldn't make one to start with. I don't know how to build a road. Okay? So it's really good. There's a lot of people who know things I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, through the years, I really, you know, practiced self-acceptance, practiced rejoicing, and learned how to create a sense of contentment in my own heart. And that's been very valuable, because the Buddha talks about contentment as being a richness in life. Whereas our usual way, the way we're taught by society and our family, is to be discontent, to be dissatisfied, to always feel I'm not good enough, I haven't done enough, other people have more than I do. You know, we're taught like that, and it's really useless. It's totally useless to think like that, because we all have our own unique qualities and abilities. Yeah. And so something that, you know, maybe our friend is able to do one thing very well, but we're able to do something else very well. And that's good, because then we balance out, we complement each other. Okay? And so I accept what I'm able to do, I accept what my friends can do. I don't need to compare myself to others. You know? I can be content. Like I said, that doesn't mean being complacent and just saying, well, oh well, doesn't matter. Yeah. No, you know, when you're in samsara, you can't be complacent. You have to practice. You have to purify and create merit and learn and so on. But to accept what I am capable of doing, and to accept my own karmic situation in this lifetime. Yeah. And so that sense of contentment that's come about through that acceptance, I think has been very, very valuable. Yeah. It's made me much more even-tempered, much more accepting of other people, instead of always having this mind of not only I should be better, but you should be better. And then putting that on top of other people, which drives them crazy. Yeah. Okay. So living up to your own expectations, forget it. Some of you look really depressed now. But seriously, if you can accept yourself, and if you can accept other people, you know, people are what they are. They have good qualities, they have weaknesses. That's okay. Yeah, I can honor and respect their good qualities. I can be aware of their weaknesses, and I can still work to benefit them without expecting them to think I'm wonderful. Okay? So you get some kind of mental space, in your heart. And you stop this kind of push, 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 push. Do any of you push yourselves? Yeah? Oh, I have to do better. My boss wants us to do this. I have to do that. I have to be the best person on the team. Not just we have to be the best team, but I have to be the best person on the team. Yeah. I have to be the shining star in the company that the boss recognizes. that the boss thinks, I've got to have me in the company or else the company's going to fail. You know, it's like, give that up. Give it up. Just do what I'm capable of doing with a kind heart. Yeah? Because when we push, we don't have a kind heart. Yeah? When we're always thinking, I gotta do better, I'm more, better, our kind heart is out the window. And we're willing to trample on other people and harm other people to get what we want, so that we look good. And what good is it to trample on other people's happiness in order to look good? How does that benefit us? You know, maybe we get a few extra possessions and some status this lifetime, but we're not going to progress on the path to enlightenment, and we're also not going to have very many friends. Yeah? Because if we're pushing and we're competing and we're deprecating people and putting them down, who in the world is going to want to be with us? Yeah? If we're playing politics in the office in order to look good and scapegoat somebody else, who's going to want to be around us? Okay? Whereas if we really cultivate kindness in our own hearts and genuinely care about others and express that kindness and do things that are helpful and beneficial to others, then we can feel good about ourselves. And other people feel good about us too. Yeah? A kind heart is worth much more than a promotion at work. And yet it's strange. In school, they don't teach us how to have kind hearts. Did you ever take, you know, in all the years of schooling you had, did you ever take a course called How to Have a Kind Heart? No. We took geography, we took English, we took math, we took science. But what's more important in your life? You know, I can't remember. I'm going to tell you a secret. I can't remember hardly anything I studied. Yeah, I got my degree in history. I can't tell you any dates that anything happened. Yeah, don't ask me. If you gave me a college entrance exam, I mean, when I was in school, I did really, really well in math. And then I also studied history, you know. But if you gave me even a college entrance exam that the kids in like an O level or an A level now, I don't think I could pass it. I've forgotten everything because I didn't use it. Yeah. But what I did remember through all those years of schooling, what I did remember from my studies in history is that when people act selfishly, when they're greedy, when they are easily offended, they start wars, and wars harm other living beings. Wars destroy happiness. That's what I learned from studying history. But you know, I think that's much more important to learn that than to learn all the dates of this president and that war and this czar and so on. Yeah? Who cares what year things were happening? Although I did learn today that 1819 was the day the British came here. Congratulations. Yeah, but what's more important, knowing that or having a kind heart? At the end of the day, you know, what matters most is really how we feel about ourselves. Yeah. If we feel good about our life, if we've been able to contribute to the benefit of others. That makes us feel like we've accomplished something. Mm-hmm. And they don't even teach us how to have that kind heart or how to be compassionate in school. That's why you come to places like the Buddhist library. Yeah? Because here you're going to learn some things that are really important for your life, that are really going to help you live a happy life. You know, here you're going to learn how to keep ethical conduct. You're going to learn how to, you know, conscientiously cultivate love and compassion. You're going to learn how to cherish others more than yourself. You're going to learn about the nature of reality. Yeah? That's very, very valuable. And as much as you can learn that and practice that, you'll be happier this life. You'll make other people happier. When you die, you'll die peacefully without regret. You'll have a good life next time, and you'll be able to continue your Dharma practice and make it 3 countless great eons minus 1 lifetime. Yeah? You'll be able to progress, so that's good. Yeah? That's really worthwhile. Because, you know, you can advance in your job, you can make a ton of money, you can fulfill all your worldly expectations and be totally miserable. Yeah. I always tell people, be careful of who you're jealous of, because you might become like them. Yeah. You know how it is, how we get jealous of other people? Oh, that one. Oh, she has such a good-looking husband. Oh, look at my husband. Oh, look at that friend. You know, they're so talented. They play the saxophone so beautifully. I can't even sing. You know, oh, look at that friend. You know, they live in a really nice house. I live in an HDB flat. Oh, look at that friend. You know, look at their car. A bright yellow sports car. Wow. I just have a bicycle. You know, I mean, you can drive yourself crazy with these kind of comparisons. And when you do that, you miss out on the beauty of your own life. And like I said, be careful of being envious of these people, because if you get their situation, yeah, if you become like that, then you're also going to have their problems. Yeah. Whenever we're jealous of someone, we don't see the problems that person has. We only see what we think is a fortune that they have that we don't have. But we don't see all the problems they have lying behind that fortune. And any kind of problem, any kind of fortune, there's going to be a problem behind it. Because we live in cyclic existence, and cyclic existence is not perfect. Okay? So, sometimes it might be helpful for us, if we could, to change places with somebody we're jealous of, and then really see how miserable their life is, and then be able to come back to who we are and say, oh, good, actually my life is pretty good. I rejoice. And when we rejoice at our own life, then we have a sense of enthusiasm about what we're doing, and we can practice the Dharma well. And then we can really benefit others. Yeah? So comparing ourselves to other people, useless activity. Drop it. Yeah. Trying to fulfill your own expectations, impossible. Forget it. cultivating a kind heart, you can do that. Go for it. Developing self-acceptance, developing the ability to rejoice at your own and others' opportunities and virtues, you can do that. Brings happiness. Yeah. Realizing the nature of reality, you have that capability. Yeah. Go in that direction. Even if you don't succeed in this lifetime, you're planting good seeds on your mind, and then in future lifetimes you can continue. Your life has still been meaningful. And having a meaningful life is really what it's all about. Being the best is not what life is about. Having a meaningful life is much more valuable. Okay, so that's just a little bit. What I'd like to do now is open it to questions and comments, and we can have a little bit of a discussion and share some thoughts together. So please, feel free to speak or to ask questions.
Hello, Venerable. You mentioned about contentment versus complacency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that very clearly in my teenage daughter. So how do I help her to see that these two are actually different? And then how do you move towards contentment and get rid of that complacence or whatever?
Okay, so you're asking how to help your teenage daughter learn the difference between contentment and complacency. I think probably the best way is to be able to model that yourself. Yeah, and to speak in such a way that you show that you're content with what you are, that you're confident in what you are, and at the same time you know your foibles and your weaknesses, and you're working on them and you're willing to work on them. Yeah, I think that this kind of thing is something that we often learn much better by watching how somebody else lives it. Yeah? And that's much harder. I know you would like me to say, okay, well, tell her this and tell her this and tell her this. And then you can go and tell her this and tell her this. And you should be more content and not so complacent. You should be like this. Well, what about me? Yeah, what about me being more content and less complacent? And it's interesting sometimes in your family to talk about this kind of thing. I mean, go home and talk to your daughter and say, I went to this Buddhist talk, and this nun, this lady has no hair, no makeup, yeah, no boyfriend. She wears the same clothes every day. And she was talking about being content and not being complacent. And she looks like she's kind of reasonably happy. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? Start a conversation. Yeah?
I think in our current job or in the job interview, it's inevitable to have some expectation. Even our bosses will ask you what you're going to achieve next year. So you're coming to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's inevitable to have expectation in our job. So how do we face it?
Yeah, okay. So when your boss is kind of saying, well, what do you hope to accomplish next year? I'm going to tell you something. Don't tell your boss. Yeah? You say, well, I hope to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and you tell them what you hope to accomplish. and you say, you know, this is what I'm aiming for, and we'll see what happens. Yeah? Because I'm sure if you asked your boss, what are you aiming to accomplish next year? Yeah? You know, anybody who's asked that question, all you can do is state what you hope to do. We can't control what happens, can we? Yeah. So I think the best thing in that situation is just to think about, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And what am I actually capable of doing? And to set some realistic goals, but to also at the same time understand that setting goals does not mean that if you don't fulfill them, you're a failure. Because we cannot control all the conditions that are needed in order for us to accomplish our goal. And sometimes, you know, slowing things down and taking longer to accomplish a goal, we can actually accomplish it much better than if we push ourselves and try and do it quickly. Let me just give you an example. At the Abbey, where I live, Sravasti Abbey, we've been building a new building called Chenrezig Hall. Chenrezig is Kuan Yin, the Buddha of Compassion. So in the contract we signed with the building contractor, the building is supposed to be done in 1 year. Okay, so we started the building the August 23rd. Yeah, not the 24th, 23rd. Well, 12 months later, on August 23rd, the building was not done. Yeah. And in fact, the building was very far from done. Yeah. And the guy who had put on the stucco, he put on 2 different colors and they didn't match. And the guy who was supposed to put in the platform lift said it wasn't going to be ready for 2 more months. And this problem and that problem and the other problem, okay? And anyway, the building finally got finished last week. We got occupancy last week. It took 15 months, not 12 months, okay? Actually, 15 months and 2 days. But who's counting? Yeah, but, you know, that's how long it took. If there were some things where there was no possible way to rush it. Yeah? If you're depending on this guy who's making the platform lift and he says he placed the order and the company is backed up and you have to wait 2 months, what can you do? You know? We can't control all the causes and conditions. Yeah. You know what else happened to us when we're building? They made us put in this very fancy fire suppression system. It has, you don't have them here. You know the buildings with these little sprinkler things that hang? Yeah. So we had to put one of those in. And it's like super complicated. And the fire marshal came out to check it. So they had to, you know, pump up the water and pump up the pressure and then, you know, see if it worked. Well, what we didn't know was one of the other workmen who was working in the building had accidentally drilled a little hole in the one of these water pipes. So when they made the pressure go on, ooh, the water went whee! You know, and this happened in the attic with the water just going, and then it went down the walls. We had to take out, you know, one wall. It wrecked the carpeting on the first floor. It went down another wall. We had to take out a ceiling and the flooring of a couple of rooms. And we failed the fire suppression test. Which meant that, then we had to call people in. They had to dry out all the building. They had these things that were fans to dry it out and dehumidifiers, and it was a wreck and a mess. And what are you going to do? This you have all your plans, and I have this slogan, when you have a plan, you know what's not going to happen. And that was exactly it. We had this plan for, we were going to get the fire suppression test. That was going to pass that day, and then the next day we were going to do this, and the next day we were going to do that. And we failed the fire suppression test, and then we had to go back and do repairs on the building before the building was even done. So you have your goals, but it doesn't mean that you can control everything and actualize them. You have to accept what the situation is. Okay? Yeah? Okay. So I have a colleague. I think maybe this is from everybody in the room. I have a colleague who I'm irritated with for a year now. Yeah? I think you all wrote this question. Yeah? I find her to be nasty and manipulative, and I know I'm biased now with whatever she says to me. How would I cultivate a neutral mind towards her? Okay. Well, thank goodness none of you are that colleague, right? Because we're all sweet, cooperative, benevolent people. Right? Yeah. We're not nasty and manipulative. We don't gossip behind anybody else's back. Right? Yeah? It's always those other people. That colleague, Do you ever wonder if anybody's pointing the finger at you and saying, that colleague? I was like, me? I'm nasty and manipulative? No, I'm not. I'm nice. Why don't you like me? Okay, so considering that we're not at fault and the other person is nasty and manipulative, how do we work with the situation? Right? If somebody is nasty and manipulative, do you think they're happy? No. Okay. If somebody is unhappy, do you know how that feel? Do you know how they feel? Do you know what that feels like? To be somebody who's unhappy? You've been unhappy? Yeah. Do you have some sense of how that colleague might feel if they're unhappy? Do you really want to get down on that person and hate them and make them more unhappy? No. Yeah. Do you think maybe you could extend yourself a little bit? Maybe smile at them or compliment them or do something that might lighten their heart in one way or another? You think you might be able to do that? Well, not for this one. She's really nasty and manipulative. But the thing is, as long as we keep repeating that, she is like this, and I'm sweet, innocent, benevolent me. She's the problem. I'm not doing anything. You know, as long as we have that view that the other person is some objective idiot out there, then we're not going to be able to solve the problem. Yeah? We have to see in some way that the other person's unhappy, and that it's also our mind that is creating them as an enemy. From their side, they really aren't an enemy. You know, that person's just trying to live their life the same way that we're just trying to live our life. Hmm? You know, one time, some years ago, I was giving a series of talks over the summer at one place where I was. And I gave people the homework. We were talking about, you know, getting along with other people and what to do when we don't get along with somebody we work with. So I gave everybody in the class a homework assignment to every day for a week until the next week when we met, to say something nice to somebody else or about somebody else. And this person had to be somebody that, you know, you weren't friends with. So you had to say something either nice to them or something nice about them every day. That was the assignment. So one man looked at me and he said, I can't do that. I have this colleague who's nasty and manipulative, and he's driving me crazy. And I can't imagine, there is nothing good to say about him at all. This man said to me. I said, try. Okay? Then the next week, you know, when we're coming to class, he happens to be coming in at about the same time I'm coming in. So I said, how did it go? How was your homework assignment? And he said, well, the first day I couldn't think of anything nice to say about this person, so I made something up and said that. He said, I lied and said something nice that I didn't really believe, but, you know, you gave me this assignment, so I did the best I could. And he said, and then the next day, you know, I saw some little good trait about this person. You know, they were kind of, their desk is very neat. And that's a good trait in an office, to have a neat desk. So I told them they had a neat desk and how much I respect that and how much that shows that, you know, they have an organized mind and that they care about the environment. And he said, and then the next day, you know, after I told that person that they had a neat desk, you know, we started talking. And, you know, the next day I realized I kind of enjoyed that conversation. So it was much easier to say something nice to the person on the third day. And the fourth day, it was even easier. And, you know, what had happened is he discovered that this person that he couldn't stand actually had some good qualities. And he discovered that he could get along with him, but if he tried, if he made some effort from his side, you know, especially to find something to appreciate in the other person and to remark on that. Yeah. So you might try something like that. Yeah. Try to, you know, compliment the person and point out what they do well. Yeah. And maybe you don't have to lie on the first day like this man did. Yeah. But look around. You can probably find something. And then see how the relationship changes when you start giving this person good feedback. Yeah. Because, you know, if you start pointing out good things about them, they're going to respond to you much differently than if you scowl at them every day. Yeah. So watch how the relationship changes. Yeah. Do it as an experiment and see what happens. Okay, that's your homework assignment. So his question is, if you go to a temple or even in your own home, if you pray to the Buddha for your own suffering to decrease, is it possible to actually receive a blessing from a Buddha so that your suffering decreases? Or if your suffering decreases, is that just the natural fact of impermanence, the fact that something changes? Yes. Okay. You know, I think when we pray to the Buddha, instead of saying, may my suffering increase, may this external situation change, to pray, Buddha, please inspire me so that I can transform this situation into the path to awakening. Yeah. In other words, not just to pray, can the external situation change? Because, you know, controlling other people's karma, controlling other people's actions, pretty difficult. But for our mind, you know, to change our mind, to ask for the Buddha's inspiration, may I be able to work with this situation in a good way and be of benefit to others and to myself. May I be able to cultivate fortitude and a strong mind to work with the situation. Yeah. May I be able to look at the situation with wisdom. Okay? So to really see that the way that the Buddhas benefit us the most is through their teachings. So if we request teachings, if we request inspiration to be able to remember the teachings that we've heard about how to transform adversity into the path, that can be really beneficial to us. You know, you can pray that the external situation change. That's nothing wrong with doing that. But at the same time, pray, whether it changes or not, may I be able to transform it. Okay? Can the Buddha, you know, give us blessings and inspire the mind? Yes. Can we receive the Buddha's blessings and inspiration? That depends on the state of our mind. Okay. The Buddha's blessings, the Buddha's inspiration, it's like the analogy of the sun shining. The sun shines totally unhindered. Yeah, the sunlight goes in all directions, everywhere. Okay. If you have a cup and the cup is upside down, can the sunlight get in the cup? No. Is that a difficulty in the sunlight, or is that a difficulty in the cup? It's a difficulty with the cup, isn't it? The cup needs to start to turn upright for the sun to get in it. So in the same way, the Buddha's blessings, the Buddha's inspiration, are like the sun rays. They're going out all the time, everywhere, equally. Are our minds receptive to receiving that? Or are our minds like the upside down cup? When we're filled with anger and resentment and grudges, our mind is an upside down cup. The Buddha's blessings have a very difficult time coming into our mind because we're sitting there going, I hate this person, the world isn't fair, why is this always happening to me? Even when we're in a bad mood like that, even the Buddha appeared in the space in front of us, radiating light, we'd say, turn down the volume, it hurts my eyes. You know, we wouldn't even be able to see the Buddha. We'd just complain because that's our habit. Okay. Whereas if we have a calm mind, if we have an open mind, if we've been practicing self-acceptance, if we've been practicing rejoicing at our own and others' virtue, then our mind is open. Then the Buddha's blessings can come in. Okay? When you receive the Buddha's blessings, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you go, wow, hallelujah, you know, I've got the Buddha's blessings, I am, woo! That's not what happens. Okay? Receiving the Buddha's blessings means that our mind is transformed. That some Dharma teachings that maybe we heard or we read before but we didn't understand, now when we hear them or read them, we understand them. Maybe some meditation that we tried to do before, we didn't really know how to do it very well, but now we're getting some experience from the meditation. So that's what it means to receive the Buddha's blessings. Yeah. It's not that you see light and that's not it. Okay? It means your mind transforms. It means you're not as angry and resentful as before. Okay? I learn you give us your insight into emptiness. Can you truly experience emptiness when you're penniless? Your wallet's very empty. Yeah, sure. It's not that kind of emptiness. Can you experience emptiness on your deathbed? Okay. Okay. So, did I get the question right? Yeah. Most of the great sages who realized the nature of reality didn't have a ton of money. Yeah. We need some money to live. Yes, we need money to buy food, to have, you know, to keep ourselves alive, to have the requisites, food, clothing, shelter, medicine. Yeah. We don't need to be rich. Yeah. Having enough money to live and being rich are two different ball games. Yeah. It's kind of getting fun here. But yeah, if you can, the causes for realizing emptiness are hearing the teachings from an excellent teacher, thinking about the teachings you've heard, and then putting them into practice. Making a lot of money is not the cause of Dharma realizations. Okay? You just need enough money to live, and you can be content with what you have. Yeah? We don't need the best. We don't always need more and better. And so when you develop some contentment with your physical situation, then you have a lot more time to learn the Dharma, reflect on it, meditate on it, and then surely you can get some experience. So when we say emptiness, we're not talking about non-existence. We're talking about being empty of independent existence. Okay? So it's not really no self. It's not self. Okay? In other words, the self exists, but our body and mind are not the self. And in fact, there's nothing we can point to that is the self. But still the self exists because we can see, on the basis of a body and mind, we conceive of a person and give it the name person. Okay? So things exist because they are merely labeled by name and concept. Yeah. They're empty of existing from their own side as objective entities that don't depend on anything else. Because everything depends on other things that are not it. Okay? So we might look, you be a good microphone, please. We might look, and this looks like a thing of tissues, okay? Yeah. So it looks like, well, anybody in their right mind knows this is a tissue. It's like it's radiating tissue qualities. Hi, I'm a tissue. But in actual fact, this is only a tissue because somebody made it. Well, actually, a whole bunch of people made it. And because our human mind has developed a function for this thing. You can use it to wipe your nose, you can use it to wipe water up, you can use it as a notepad if you're really desperate. Yeah, our human mind has, developed a function, a purpose for this. And so we've given it a name, tissue. So we all know when you hear the word tissue, oh, that's referring to something that you can use to wipe your nose or to wipe up water. Yeah. But if we look and try and find something in here, in this thing, that is a tissue, we can't find anything that is a tissue. All we find are just these wood fibers. Yeah? It's made from a tree, isn't it? Okay? So when we're looking, we can't find anything that is the tissue, but we also can't say there's no tissue because there is something you can wipe your nose with. Okay? So what we're getting at is that things exist, but they don't exist independent of everything else. They exist dependent on other factors, and they exist dependent on a mind that conceives them and gives them a name. Okay? So the same applies to ourself. We feel, me. But actually, when we search our body and mind, there's nothing we can find that's me. But we exist because, depending on the body and mind, there's a concept. Oh, there's so-and-so. Okay? So it takes a little bit of time to contemplate this. But it can be very helpful in our lives when we do. Because then we realize that things are not so black and white. And we really begin to see that how we look at something, what we label it, how we choose to interpret things, that this makes a huge difference in terms of what we experience, and that our mind plays a major role in creating either our suffering or our happiness. And so that means that by changing our mind, transforming how we see things, that we can change our own experience. So that's what we're trying to do when we're realizing emptiness, change our own experience. There's a book downstairs. There's a number of books downstairs. There's one of them called Insight into Emptiness. It's by one of my teachers, Kensur Jampa. And if you're interested in this topic and you're willing to really study and think deeply about it, his book is excellent for explaining about the nature of reality. So if it's true that every situation can be a learning experience and being a teacher to us, when we're in a situation that feels very unsafe, do we just stay there and passively observe it, or can we act? You observe and you act. Okay, you do both. So you look at the situation, you think, is the way I'm seeing and interpreting this situation some objective reality like this, or is there another way to look at the situation? And so you try and be creative and see what you can really learn from the situation. At the same time, if something is dangerous, you get out of there or you protect yourself. Okay? But you can protect yourself and you can get out of a difficult situation without being angry. Okay? That makes some sense? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sometimes there might be a relationship situation where you don't feel safe. It feels like somebody's manipulating you. Yeah? Or you think maybe somebody's betraying your trust. Something like that. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. So it's a situation that's happening now. It's challenging. It's bringing up a lot of emotions. One part of you says, I need time and space to process the emotions. Another part of you is saying, maybe I should stay here and try and process it in the situation. Okay. So what you decide there, that's going to depend on you and it's going to depend on the situation. If you feel overwhelmed by the situation, you know, that you can really not think clearly in it, then it's better to remove yourself from it. Not so you can escape, but so that you do have the time to really process it and learn from it. On the other hand, if it's a situation that is moderately challenging and you have some kind of confidence that, yeah, this is challenging, but I want to play with it. I want to see what can happen. And if it gets too bad, I can make space. Then you might choose to stay there. Okay? But you have to see what it is and, not lock yourself into a situation that you can't get out of. Make sure there's some way that, if you need to, you can change it. But also, you really have to see every situation as very different. You have to play with it. Mm-hmm. I like that attitude, actually, of having the idea I'm playing with situations instead of this is a real serious situation and I've got to deal with it. To just think, okay, this is an appearance to the mind and I can play with it and see what happens. And if things are going a direction I don't want to, I can change my approach and I can change my behavior. Yeah. instead of making everything so serious. Yeah.
May I ask two questions?
Mm-hmm.
One is good to have in the everyday life we meet our spiritual life is in line with the commercial life. But many times there is always a conflict. We have deadlines, we have things to do. How do you reconcile it? Because outside the commercial world, that is very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you say, like for example, take your example, you say you build your temple, you get okay, 15 months, 20 months. It's not so forgiving in the commercial party, because we are Buddhist, we are very compassionate, but sometimes it doesn't work. You can't get SIA say, okay, sorry, we don't fly at 3 o'clock, we fly tomorrow. Yeah.
No, the thing is, you do your best and you be responsible. I'm not excusing bad behavior or saying it's okay to be responsible. You be responsible, you do your best, but you realize that you cannot control everything in this world. And that nobody else can control everything in this world either. So you've got to cut yourself some slack, and you've got to cut other people some slack. Because you can go through in the commercial world, yes, this is the deadline, we gotta do it. And the person's sick. Yeah, you can sit there and scream at them all you want, you've gotta finish this. But they're sick and they can't. So what are you gonna do? Continue to scream at them? Continue to insist that they do something they're incapable of doing? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, does it? All this stuff about deadlines and you have to do this, this is all created by our human mind. For a while I was getting pretty agitated because our building was not finished on time. And then I realized my agitation is my responsibility. I cannot put it on the contractor who's building the building. My agitation is something I have to deal with. And I can sit and, push the contractor all I want to, but that doesn't mean he can control the situation, and I certainly can't control it either. So it's much nicer, I have a much better relationship with the contractor when I understand his position and I cut him the slack that he needs, than if I keep on insisting that he does something that is not possible to do. And then he's stressed and he's angry and I'm stressed and I'm angry, and then nobody's happy and the temple still doesn't get built because we can't control. I mean, this is one basic thing that we have to understand. We all feel like we can control the world. Look around you. Can you control your own body? Can you keep your body from getting old, sick, and dying? Your own body. We can't control our body, can we? I mean, we can lift our arm, we can blink our eyes. Can we prevent our body from getting old, sick, and die? No. We think, I should be able to control my mind. 2 minutes of doing breathing meditation shows us I have no control over my mind. Yeah. Then we think, I should be able to control my children. So you nag your kids, you pester your kids, you're the drill sergeant. Can you control your children? No. Then I've got to control, something at work. And you push and you shove and you scream. Does it happen? Does that help? Okay? So all these things are made up by our human mind. And I think we need to bring some kindness into them. I'm not saying be irresponsible. I'm saying accept what a situation is and have some kindness in your heart. Okay?
The second question I want to ask, you say if we are all so contented, will there any improvement?
Yes, that's what I said at the beginning, that you can be content and accept what you are and at the same time change and improve in the future. And in fact, accepting yourself as you are now opens the door for you to be able to change and improve. When we don't accept ourselves and we're constantly criticizing ourselves, beating up on ourselves, telling ourselves that we're lousy and we're failures and we're not worthwhile, all that kind of self-talk is a hindrance to improving ourselves. Yeah. Whenever we sit there, I'm so lousy, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm a failure, no wonder nobody loves me, how can I ever look people in the face, this is a disaster. When our mind is filled with that kind of self-talk, can we learn anything? Can we be creative? Can we contribute to the welfare of others? No, because we're sitting there wasting our time telling ourselves how lousy we are, which is not true, because we are not lousy. Okay? So self-acceptance and extending some kindness to ourselves, extending some patience and understanding to ourselves, this makes it so much easier for us to change and improve. I don't think you believe me. But try it. Try it. Look at your own experience. Yeah, look at your own experience when you're very harsh and are critical of yourself versus when you're kind to yourself. Yeah, just look at your own experience and then you can answer the question yourself.